Did you take an analyst role to break into data engineering, but now you feel stuck? I was there too at one point, and here is how I made the leap, and how you can too. So let's start with why you would move into data engineering. For me, I loved finding new data sources, figuring out how they fit together with my existing sources. I really love the puzzle of troubleshooting broken pipelines, as silly and crazy as it might sound, but that's a big part of what I do. You know, pipelines that run fine for months on end and then all of a sudden break, and you have to, it's like an investigation, just like any other investigation, and it's really, I'd love finding out, what went wrong and how to fix it and find out ways to move around it. There's also a financial benefit. Engineers just make more than analysts do, but the best engineers, they started it as analysts. Why? Because, that business acumen that you learn as an analyst really goes hand in hand with being a fantastic engineer. Understanding why you're doing things and how it benefits the business really can take your engineering career really sky high. So that combination really, again, it helps you to rise in your higher in your career more than you would otherwise. And yeah, that also means more money. I also love the magician effect, right? People see data engineers as wizards, making data just magically appear whenever and wherever they need it. So I always used to love people, looking at me like they were just amazed at what I was able to do and accomplish and how quickly I was able to do it. And it meant that they didn't have to do it anymore. So they were always incredibly thankful and happy. So yeah, people see us as magicians sometimes. And sometimes it still feels like magic to me. And it's wild that I get to be paid for something that I really love doing. So let me talk to you about my story and how I got here. Early on, I realized that I had a knack for identifying source systems, figuring out where they were, how to get access to them, and seeing how the different disparate data sources connected to each other and how they related to each other. My company also realized that pretty quickly too. It saw that in me as well. And I was moved into a role where I had the time to really focus on not just reporting on data, but I was building the systems that powered those reports. I helped the business to track employee abuse, analyze behavior patterns, and centralize all of their data into a system where leadership can find the data that they needed to make decisions at the touch of a button. One director just always referred to me as the data guy. So, it was pretty cool, right? At first, I didn't even realize that I was doing data engineering. And maybe at the time, data engineering wasn't necessarily a job role that was out there as it has evolved into today. But that's what I was doing. I was pulling data from multiple sources, cleaning it, creating data models, and even presenting the insights, all without a formal title. Before I knew it, I was really a full stack data engineer. So if this resonates with you and it sounds familiar, maybe you're already doing engineering work without realizing it. Here are some of the key things that I've learned that helped me to fully transition into an engineering role and has kept me employed and in demand for over 20 years. Number one, build your network. Meet data people at your company if there's a data engineering team. I've been in several companies over the years that I was the data engineering team. I was the data team. There was nobody else. So there may not be anybody else, but if there is, reach out to those groups, reach out to those people, get to know them. Whether it be DBAs, software engineers, even IT folks that are working with data. You know, be so great at your analyst role right now that you have the bandwidth to be able to help those other groups, to be able to help the engineers, and do some of the work that you so much crave to do. And then expand beyond just the work. Join data engineering meetups, or you might have maybe programming meetups in your area. In Knoxville, there's a programming meetup, but there's not a specific data engineering meetup. So join those types of meetups and go out and network with those people. Engage on LinkedIn. Comment on other data engineers' posts, other data professionals' posts. Ask questions. Connect with other people. Reach out to hiring managers that are in roles where they're potentially going to hire data engineers. Follow data engineers on YouTube and Medium and Twitter and comment X, and comment on those other people's posts so that your name is out there and kind of is in their mind. And then that way, when your name comes across a desk for a potential position, then they have some type of reference point to who you are. So you never know which of those connections are going to lead to your first exciting engineering role. Number 2, find a mentor. Some people really get lucky. A great manager or senior coworker takes them under their wing. I've been lucky throughout my career where I've had several leaders that I have been lucky to interact with and even call friend at this point. But they've really helped me to move through my career and continue to progress in my career over the years, giving me some advice that I wouldn't have been able to identify necessarily on my own, and definitely not at the time. So most of the time, though, you might have to seek out mentorship. Some of the places, again, to find one are similar to those that you would network in. LinkedIn, again, connect and engage before you're asking for guidance, right? Before you just blindly reach out to somebody, make sure that you're connecting and engaging in some of their content. YouTube and Medium, follow those people whose content resonates with you. Find somebody whose personality matches your own, or maybe whose personality you are striving to become more like, and be sure that you're, again, interacting with their content, and eventually reach out to them and ask them for mentoring. Don't be dissuaded by paid mentorship. I charge for mentorship, and many other people charge for mentorship, and it's not about the money. For me, it's not about the money. It is about the fact that mentees that pay for the mentorship have some skin in the game, and they are more invested in actually in their growth, right? In doing what we talk about and in actually achieving some of those goals. This next piece is something that I preach all the time. If you've been to my live sessions on Friday nights, or you've seen some of my other videos, master the soft skills. This is really something that will differentiate you from other data engineers, especially from other, fresher data engineers that are just entering the market. The best data engineers aren't just technical. They're the ones that can explain complex topics to non-technical audiences, understand business problems beyond just the code that they're writing. They're able to collaborate with teams across the company, whether it be marketing or sales or customer service. You can talk to those people and be personable and develop those relationships and develop that trust and that bond with other stakeholders across the company. As an analyst, these are things that you already have opportunities to practice every time you present your findings or create a new report, and you're doing like a roadshow, or you're presenting that report or providing some type of training. You are building those relationships, and those are chances for you to network and continue to practice those communication skills. Now, gain some hands-on technical experience is the next one. Offer to help. Again, we talked about this a minute ago. Offer to help engineers with tech debt that is probably building up that they just don't have time to touch. Be so fantastic at your job that you have time and the bandwidth to help those other people. Oftentimes, as an analyst, you have some really solid SQL skills already, and you can ask if you could help to optimize queries or maybe clean up some ETL scripts, and help with some of that process. If you don't have engineers to shadow, start with a side project. Build a pipeline from an open data set to a cloud database, or even to an on-premise database that you install on your local machine. And ask your mentor for a project idea that really challenges you and lets you demonstrate those engineering skills that you're continuing and starting to build. Oftentimes your mentor can partner with you, and one thing that I do is partner with you and identify what one of your passions are, and help you to identify some open source data sources where you could go out and reach into some of that data that you're really passionate about and really excited about. Okay, learn to quantify business impact. This one is so huge, not just as you're moving from analyst to engineer, but as you continue your career. This is something that will help you to move into leadership, that will help you to quickly move, into senior and professional and staff roles. When you're automating a report, how much time does it save? Quantify that. Give real, concrete numbers. When you are cleaning up data pipelines, how much revenue does it help to protect? One example is, let's say you're integrating a new data source into a warehouse, and before, maybe sales reps were spending 30 minutes or so for each lead manually looking up additional information to enrich that content that they already have, that information about that lead that they already have, to help them better position and sell the product to the customer. Now, you may be ingesting data from D&B. If you don't know what D&B is, go out and research it. But D&B has packages that you could purchase that will help you to enrich data. And enrich just means add some other interesting fields about that lead, especially about business leads, right? And now you could you're pushing that data directly into Salesforce, and that sales rep no longer needs to spend that 30 minutes researching that customer. It is in front of them already. So you have saved them 30 minutes per lead. You have probably increased sales, right? Because you're increasing their close ratio, and by providing them that enriched data, and which increases the revenue for the company. These are real concrete numbers, real concrete business value that you're delivering that you may not be thinking of when you get this project to ingest new D&B data. But it's important to learn how to identify those concrete numbers and be able to vocalize and communicate them to your business stakeholders, whether that be your boss or a hiring manager. Now, this next piece really is, I'm going to admit that upfront, it could be exhausting, but apply. I once applied 7 times to the same position at the same company before I finally got the role. One of my mentees, she applied to 350 jobs and only got 10 interviews out of it. So that's and that's recent. And so that's kind of what we're looking at in the job market right now. But she ended up landing 2 job offers and had the choice between the 2. So it really right now is a numbers game. Keep applying. Don't get too disheartened. I know it's easy for me to say and hard to actually do in practice, but try to keep your spirits up. Take breaks when you need to. I know it can be disheartening, but it is a numbers game. Keep applying, keep networking, and always follow up with a hiring manager or a recruiter to express how excited you are. And when you're doing that, to make those messages, whether it be on LinkedIn or an email, personable and specific to that job role, to that company that you're applying to. don't just make it a generic statement about how excited you are about the company. Make sure that it's as specific as you can be. Do your homework and do some research first. So, some closing thoughts here. I hope that this helps you to attain a career in data engineering. And if you're serious about moving into data engineering and want additional guidance, be sure to check out the mentorship link in the description of the video to my mentor program that I offer. And, let me know, what is the biggest challenge that's holding you back from making this transition? Drop a comment below, let me know, and I'll respond. If you got some value from this video, and I hope so much that you did, be sure to share it with a friend and subscribe for more insights and data engineering trends. And I will see you next time.